So the Miami CTSI, as many of you know, is part of a large network. We're funded by NCATS, and we're one of 64. There's only 2 in Florida, UF and UM, who will actually work very closely together in a number of programs that I'll mention. But the CTSIs were developed in response to an Institute of Medicine report to improve and more rapidly translate research to human and bring clinical trials into practice more rapidly. And the goal of this NCATS and CTSIs here is to catalyze a generation of innovative methods and technologies that will enhance the development, testing, and implementation of diagnostics and therapeutics across a wide range of diseases and conditions. Our CTSI is sort of young. We're actually in year 5 of our first cycle, and it was the largest grant ever awarded to University of Miami by NIH. And the mission that was set up under the original principal investigator, Jose Shaposnik, was to be indispensable as a scientific home and promote clinical and translational research, transform university research infrastructure to advance excellence, and culturalize clinical and translational research. And that culturalized clinical and translational research is an important buzzword that actually Jose and Janelle Wright had a lot of work in coining that term that has been an important theme that really goes throughout all of our research and health disparities, both for our CTSI and beyond. So the goals are obviously improve the quality and efficacy of clinical translational research, advance team science. That's a very important goal. That's an important, I think, mantra that I think you're talking about today at the retreat. Team science is critical for us to really make some of the inroads and improve translational research, and that culturalized health sciences that I think we are so good at, which is how do we really improve, not only address health disparities, but translate and transform research in such a way that makes our research in disparate populations more relevant. So the focus has been advancing translation across the spectrum, though as you'll hear in at least CTSI 2, some of the spectrum is being much more focused on T3 and T4, but T1 and T2 and discovery science are important in CTSIs across a culturally diverse population. Most of what CTSIs do and most of what we have built in the last 5 years are to improve infrastructure. Infrastructure, novel methods, tools, education across the research workforce, and to improve and capture cultural complexity that affects our clinical translational research. And obviously to focus on scientific priorities in some of the pilot awards that we funded and some of the investigators that we've tried to invest in regarding health disparities research. So first, I think it's important to recognize this is a wide stakeholder group. It obviously involves Jackson. That's part of our group and part of our research is there, and we still have, I think, some work to do to really fully engage and incorporate Jackson into our research mission. The VA is involved. The Health Council of South Florida, which will be actually even more involved in CTSI 2, but as part of the groundwork, we involve them. One Florida that I'll mention later on, which is a very large collaboration with the University of Florida and us, and then the Health Choice Network. And there are data sharing agreements now that are set up to broaden the impact of clinical translational research across a much larger group of population of patients. And of course, at the center, as the award is given to the University of Miami, it is a university grant. Most of it is structured at the Miller School of Medicine. We are trying to engage much more across the university as part of the Roadmap Initiative and as part of improving for CTSI 2, engage other parts of our university on the Coral Gables campus. So there are 3 big components, and let's try to review some of the resources, some of the success stories in research infrastructure and tools, in culture and community engagement, and in workforce development that the CTSI has offered. So research infrastructure has really been the main focus the last 5 years. A lot of things that we have built. A lot of it comes out of the work that Jose Shaposnik and Janelle Wright and the team started, who were the original principal investigators for the CTSI, in terms of creating a health learning system, URI, that we'll mention, that is an innovative thing that has really been created at the University of Miami that I hope others will take advantage of here and maybe even elsewhere. The Office of Clinical Research Operations and Regulatory Support grew out of work between CTSI and now I think is up and running with RIM support. Biostatistics and research design and regulatory ethics and consultation services that I'll mention that we still can't give enough of, but are something that are in high demand. And from what I understand, some of the survey has indicated there is still greater demand for some of the biostatistic resources. New IT systems that we helped actually invest in, including IRB7, iLabs, and others, and then participant recruitment enhancement initiatives. And one of them that we'll mention, including the Consent to Contact initiative, that is something new that grew out of work from the CTSI. The Pilot Awards program and improving the actual federation of pilot awards that exist out there, and then accelerating support for emerging disease research and training, including some of the work that we've helped invest in for Zika. So URIDE, hopefully most people know about URIDE. It's something that Nick Zinarinas and David So have been instrumental in growing, and it is an approach to take our electronic health record information, at the moment mainly UHealth data, mainly from Epic or our own electronic health record systems, but we hope this will grow and maybe even engage Miracle in the future. This de-identified system is a way of going in and quickly being able to see nicely what our patient population is all about across certain diagnosis codes, demographics, and other approaches. To us, it's more of being prepared for research. It will help in terms of feasibility for research. And it is a tool that we want all faculty and others to utilize. It right now has about 500,000 patient records, but it's growing quickly, and it is a de-identified database that has IRB approval. Biostatistics support is something that grew out of CTSI 1, and it still is something I think we need to do more of, and it's a core service. There is some institutional support to help with these consultations, to improve mainly people who are trying to get funding. Once funding occurs, the hope is that you will have funding in your grant to support ongoing biostatistics support. But it is a consultative service. We have biostatistics clinics, we have biostatistics roundtables, we have dedicated office hours, and Sherry and her team have really worked hard to try to provide these resources, and it never seems to be enough. We still need to do more in terms of the biostatistics collaboration and consulting core, but it is a core resource that grew out of the CTSI. The Consent to Contact initiative is something new. It took many years in development, started way before I even got fully engaged with the CTSI, but it finally is reality. And I hope everybody knows about it. I know our Chief Operating Officer was one of the first people to sign up for it. So this is a clinical opportunity for every patient in this health system when they come into UHealth to actually get the opportunity to possibly be engaged in research. So they get asked at check-in whether they're willing to be part of research in the future. They can say no, and it's okay. If they say yes, then later on, and that's what we're still working out through our systems, investigators may be able to access to see if they are eligible for certain studies in the future. So this is a clinical service. We hope to launch this even further. It is launched now for patients. In the future, we'll be telling investigators how they can get access to find out about patients that are willing to be consented for research in the future, should they be eligible. So the way it works is demonstrated here, and hopefully by now many of your own patients have been asked about being consent to contact. So workforce development is another key resource, and workforce development is not just our faculty, but it's also the research workers, the nurses, the clinical trial coordinators, that there are many resources that the CTSI has built to try to help train them to be better at clinical research. So for faculty, we have grant writing workshops, the Foundations in Clinical Translational Boot Camp, the Eureka program that is just closing now for new applicants that will go to Europe to get some further training, the Masters in Clinical Trial Investigation that grew out of CTSI, and our KL2 program, where we're really investing in young investigators for a mentored research career development. And then for clinical research professionals, there's the network of clinical research professionals, there's the UWay workshops and the roadmaps and other opportunities to get your teams trained in clinical translational research. So this actually, I've been told that in the survey is something else that there's high demand for. And everyone needs to be aware that we do have grant writing programs. And actually, sometimes they're underutilized. They do take an investment of time and engagement for the person who wants to take advantage of the grant writing seminars. But there are a number of them listed here. First-time applicants, we have certain programs. Research with grant writing experience for R-style grants. Dr. Mary Lou King has a 5-week course that will start and is done a few times a year. And then there's researchers with a less than 40th percentile in grants submitted where you'll get one-on-one mentoring. We need to expand this and improve this, but I do want to make sure everybody knows that it is a resource available for our investigators in these grant writing workshops and these one-on-one mentoring programs. And the success rate is quite good among those who are part of this, with something like a 29% success rate. The KL2 program, we have a number of KL2 scholars. We're a young KL2 program, and we've had a number of scholars you can see listed here across a variety of areas. They have had good productivity in terms of scholarly output, publications, and grants submitted, nearly 32, with grants funded, nearly 13, with a total greater than $2 million. Right now, the KL2 will be in a little bit of a hiatus for a year, but we're hoping with CTSI 2, if we are successful in the future, that this will be back up and running. And there are many other roadmaps and opportunities for investigators who still don't know enough about clinical research, including R01s and other grants, to go in through the website and find out about resources so they can help more easily navigate what's needed to do, whether it's writing an NIH application, engaging stakeholders, completing biosketches. These are resources that are available, and we hope that all of you will make sure your faculty are well aware of them. And these clinical research roadmaps can be for a variety of different people across their career span, from clinical research professionals to faculty. The other big part of our CTSI, which I think is unique given our focus on culturalized health sciences, and culturalized health sciences is actually a very important term, and I think a very important area of importance for our CTSI and our University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. It kind of sets us apart, I think, from some of the other CTSIs. So as part of this, culture and stakeholder community engagement is critical. We are part of this One Florida initiative that I'll mention. We have been part of mapping disparities and some innovative approaches that Erin Kovitz and others from the Cancer Center have created. The PCORI grant that Olveen has been funded for to actually train community health workers and training them to get engaged in research. Our community advisory network, which is quite broad and combines multiple different community advisory boards to really help the community be engaged in the kind of research that we do. And our diversity programs, and our expertise in community-based participatory research. So there's a lot of work here. This is a key foundation of our CTSI. So I hope most of you know about One Florida. One Florida is a great initiative. UF really took the lead, but we are a very proud, important partner with One Florida. It's nearly almost 10 million totally in the state of Florida. It involves multiple practice networks. It's a large, de-identified, combined effort of electronic health records that are created so that we can be competitive for PCORNet and for other large-scale comparative effectiveness research. So it is a large network of patients across different health systems that I think we have actually underutilized. Our partnership to train community health workers, I mentioned Olveen has been successful in getting funding for a great work to really engage people in, particularly community health workers, in research. And it's a certification program. Others are watching because this is a great way to actually bring research to the community. And Olveen and others have really been quite successful in this. And then we have a lot of expertise in community-based participatory research. Links to the community, coaching and training of investigators, assessment of recruitment in the community. I think these are other resources that I hope that our faculty can take full advantage of in these ongoing projects. We're also starting, just like we have the consent to contact for patients that hit our health system, We're working on a community participant registry to get patients who don't hit our health system possibly engaged in research in the future. CTSI 2, I think, really is an opportunity to broaden what we have now to better improve the health of our translational research workforce. So CTSI 2 is to really develop efficient, high-quality research support, clinical research centers and recruitment centers, a lot of standardization, a lot of central IRB programs. There's going to be a lot of other standardized contracts to really more rapidly jump into clinical trials. We hope to have a team of consultants that will be up and running that will facilitate multi-site studies and protocol initiation, budgets, contracting, IRB, regulatory, recruitment, and monitoring. What CTSI 2 is really all about is networks of networks. We will have a network, but then our networks will join together with other networks across the United States, all the CTSI networks, to more rapidly move things into translation. So there are master contracts, there's creation of a learning health system, which will build on URIDE. There's the ability to share data within the CTSA consortium, and there's the ability to link with other CTSAs more effectively in addressing clinical translational research. The main thing is I hope you all know what CTSI has available now and what are the things that we can build as we write CTSI 2 and completely engage in the CTSI initiative.